with the Baton Rouge Rotary, to the president and officers and all of the members who are here. I look forward to doing this every year, and I am so honored to participate and continue this tradition of starting our year with the focus on the welfare and progress of our city parish. I will have to tell you that your president and I have a strong connection. I'll share that in a few minutes. But I also want to say to our residents who may be watching across every neighborhood, thank you for the opportunity and the honor to serve each and every one of you. You know, I wouldn't be here without my faith in God and my family. And so today, my husband, the best first gentleman that Baton Rouge has ever had, Marvin, the other Marvin, is here with us today. And representing our family is my daughter, Sharon Broome, an attorney who attended LSU undergrad and Southern University Law Center and stayed in Baton Rouge. She is representing her two brothers, David and Daniel, in their absence, but most importantly, she's the mother of my three incredible grandchildren. Now, that is the connection that I have with Dr. Patan, because Dr. Patan delivered each and every one of my grandchildren. And she said they're perfect. That's debatable. But I will tell you later on in life, maybe we will share the experience of the birth of my first granddaughter when they had to escort me out the room. That's a whole nother story there for a whole nother time. And let me just say, our city wouldn't be here without our great city parish employees who serve our city with little fanfare, but with a great work ethic and love for our city. And last but not least, I want to recognize elected officials. First, I'm going to start with my magnificent city council that I work with on a regular basis. All Metro Council members, please stand up so they can see you. And if you are an elected official in another realm, would you please stand up so we can thank you for your service? I see we have a number of our school board members here. We have legislators here. A special congratulations to Senator Regina Barrow, who was just elected by her peers as the president pro tem of this Senate, Louisiana State Senate. You know, 7 years ago, I stood before you to deliver my first State of the City address. It's been an 8-year process. One of our years, we did this virtually. You all remember the virtual experience that we had? But at the end of the day, what a difference a day makes. A lot has occurred since then, and I had to hit the ground running when I took office. There was no honeymoon. I had to immediately lead the recovery from the 2016 floods, as you heard, and help us heal and help us restore unity, implementing police reform following the killing of Alton Sterling and the ambush of our officers. However, no one could imagine that COVID-19 was on the horizon and the grasp that it would have over our community and our country for 2 years. Along with the health hazard, there was the nationwide spike in violent crime, and the rapid disconnection among communities. These types of headwinds and challenges were certainly strong and caused my administration to have to pivot a few times. And I'm going to ask all the people who are here who work for city parish government, my senior staff, would you all please stand up so they can see you, because you've been a part of this process. So they helped the process of pulling things together, of restoration, of healing. However, I had a mandate from the people that I had to learn how to triage and triumph at the same time. And so, as the leader of this parish, I don't get the benefit of easy decisions or the luxury of prioritizing popularity. However, every decision that I have made since I have been mayor president has been for the betterment of this community and has been birthed and motivated out of my love for Baton Rouge. Now, I know I'm speaking to a group of leaders, and as leaders, you know that tough decisions are often like the planting of a seed. Initially, people may criticize how you dug that hole, or how often you watered that seed, or how long it's taking for that plant to grow. Often it's only after the plant springs forth and the harvest comes when many come to understand the benefit of the seeds planted. And I believe that this is an inflection point of where we in this city and parish stand. As your mayor president, I have committed to making decisions and planting seeds that are now undoubtedly yielding great results. And I believe that those decisions have put us on a pathway to progress that we must continue to travel down together. You know, early in my tenure as mayor, I knew we had to address our aging infrastructure and traffic woes. In fact, that's something that mayors across the nation are having to deal with, aging infrastructure. And it was clear that our infrastructure could not handle the growth of our city, and many of our main thoroughfares were aging and in disrepair. And I had the tough decision of going back to the voters after a failed attempt prior to me to do what I knew needed to be done. And so we retooled the program. We made it inclusive of projects from all of East Baton Rouge Parish. And we were able to successfully, with your help, pass the largest infrastructure funding in the history of our parish. Many of the people in this room helped make that happen. And now I know that passing a program and delivering a program are two different things, right? And so I've heard from many in our business community that have asked about the progress of Move EBR. The program has certainly been impacted by supply chain issues, inflation, and all of the headwinds that any product-driven business has experienced. However, to date, we have delivered on 115 projects in various phases, with 16 currently in construction, totaling $182 million. Now, we were also faced with tackling the decades of old project of light synchronization. How many times have I heard about those lights? So for the many, the reality of seeing this come to pass was slim to none because of broken promises and delays. However, I can stand before you and tell you that light synchronization is a reality in our parish. I just had a constituent the other day tell me, Mayor, I was hightailing it down Government Street. Those lights were working and I was hitting every one of them. So it is a reality. And to date, we have synchronized 90% of our traffic signals. This means constituent travel times, which means you get to work faster. Picking up the kids up for soccer isn't the bane of your existence, and the time to travel from work to happy hour just got a little quicker. So next to infrastructure, drainage inevitably brought on difficult decisions due to a backlog in maintenance, the lack of investment, and the laborious task of cleaning hundreds of miles of canals. However, I knew that after the 2016 flood, seeing the people of this parish suffer and being out of my own home for over a year, that the status quo would not and could not be the answer. And so we sprang into action, understanding that this could no longer be done in silos. We partnered with our federal delegation to help move along projects like the Comey Diversion Project. We implemented the Storm Water Master Plan to bring capital improvements to mitigate and even reverse those flood risks. And additionally, we got to work on maintenance and cleaning our waterways. Is Fred Rayford in the room? I want to thank Fred for all of the work that he's done in transportation and drainage. The third challenge that I've had to face head on has been in the area of economic opportunity. It was clear that in 2017, our problems and issues extended past just economic development. We needed to create economic opportunity for every area of this parish. We needed to lift up disinvested communities. And you know, I vividly remember some of the sharp criticism that I received early on when I put an intense focus on the need to invest in North Baton Rouge. I said then, and I'll say it now, communities rise and fall together. And my administration has been pivotal in facilitating the planting of seeds that are now reaping a tremendous harvest. We have seen significant investment in housing, 1,000 new units, won federal grants for transit, made infrastructure improvements, and are redeveloping areas that have been dilapidated for decades. And the best example of investment in economic opportunity in the northern end of our city in recent memory is the Amazon Fulfillment Center. 4 years ago, when I was running for re-election, that was a main topic of hitting me on. What's going on with Cortana Mall? It's going apart, and it's going to be an eyesore. And see, I knew all along we were doing work with Amazon. But sometimes you just can't tell it all at that time, right? How many of you all in business know you always can't tell the end result when you're going through it, right? And so we knew we were working with folks at Amazon to make that come to fruition, and that the dying Cortana Mall area was going to be lifted up. And so not only have we been able to repurpose a hub of commerce and business for this city, but when the facility opens, we will have created over 1,000 jobs. I think that deserves it. And you can also see that this investment is impacting small businesses that have grown as a result of doing work with Amazon. I see some of my commercial real estate folks in the room, and they can attest to the spike in property values in the Florida airline corridor. For the first time in decades, we are experiencing a flurry of real estate transactions, and that is something certainly to celebrate. So not only are we looking at intentional and have looked at intentional investment and disinvested communities, but we didn't stop at just those disinvested communities where we know we still have work to do. We see that other areas of our community are booming. The medical corridor is booming in South Baton Rouge. The Pico interchange is spurring growth. Mid-City continues to see a revival, and even further south, the prospect of the development at Harveston is bringing needed commerce to the community. Baton Rouge is the leading region for economic growth. We're leading in the region, in the state, for economic growth. That's something to celebrate. Since we've been in office, we've successfully commissioned a disparity study that has demonstrated the need. We've passed a local ordinance and state legislation to establish the Office of Supplier Diversity. And we have set a 25% spending goal for historically disadvantaged businesses that include minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. Since the implementation of this policy, the city parish has spent almost $40 million with disadvantaged businesses, and 200 businesses are participating in the program. As I hurry along, let me say this, because there's a lot to tell. The last area that I believe has presented many of the toughest decisions has been in the area of public safety. Leslie told you about what I had to enter into my first term in office with, and I will tell you that in 2017, I appointed Chief Murphy Paul when our city was faced with reforming the Baton Rouge Police Department and bringing our community together. We were under a 39-year consent decree at the forefront of national news and addressing record levels of violent crime at the same time. I want to thank you, Chief Murphy Paul, for stepping up to the plate when we needed you. Stand up, Chief. As you know, Chief Paul is retiring, so he has this big smile that is never ending on his face right now. I never see him not smiling when I encounter him now. Must be something about that retirement. But thank you, Chief, for employing 21st century police tactics. We are working with community organizations to continue to close that gap. And that is why we see a 34% reduction in gun violence over the last 2 years. However, we still know we have more work to do. I want to thank the folks at Safe, Hopeful, Healthy who have our community partners. You know why I know we have more work to do? Because I recently saw this article. It says that most people think the U.S. crime rate is rising. They're wrong. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have work to do, but it means that compared to where we were, the crime rate is going down. We are looking at data. I once was in a seminar and they said, look, trust God, everybody else bring data. So let's look at the data and what it is saying, a 34% reduction, but that is because we had the community working, we had our officers working together. Now, we're going to use those same principles that have brought us here today with our new chief of police, T.J. Morris, who has a formula to catalyze the next phase of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Stand up, incoming Chief Morris. He will be sworn in on January 16th as the next chief of the Baton Rouge Police Department. So the tough decisions and the painstaking efforts in the areas of infrastructure, drainage, economic opportunity, and public safety are not always viewed as sexy. However, they are foundational if we want to be the greatest mid-sized city in the country. And I have no reason to believe that we cannot be the greatest mid-sized city in the country. I just need a few other believers with me, Frank. That's all I need. I need a few other believers. You cannot build a magnificent building if the foundation is cracked or unstable. And so for better or worse, when I entered office, I had decades of old foundation issues that had to be addressed. And I know that as many of us travel the country, we see places and we see things that we want to bring to Baton Rouge. Yet, for some reason, when I get back home or when we get back home, we aren't energized to work together to see those things happen. Instead, we invoke negativity about our city and think of all the reasons those things can't or won't happen for Baton Rouge. Friends, let me tell you this. One of the things I know about this city is that when we are in the middle of a crisis, I don't care the color of your skin, I don't care the zip code, I don't care your gender, we rally together and reach out and respond to one another. That is a fact. We are resilient. We come together, but what I need us to do is do that on a regular basis. Yeah. It just doesn't have to be during a time of crisis. That is who we are as Baton Rougeans. And we need to put our best foot forward to make Baton Rouge a great place for everyone to live. We have the people, Lord knows we have the food, we have the entertainment, the educational and research base. So many of you may say, well, what's next, Sharon? What's the plan? I want you to know that my vision for Baton Rouge is big, it's abundant, it's bold. And I am following the blueprint to build on this foundation that we have laid. So hurriedly, let me say this. We're going to focus on 5 areas moving forward. You have some cards, index cards on your seat. I want you, before you leave, to jot down a note on the areas of pathways that you would like to see us continue or engage on as we move our city forward. Just write that down. But listen to these 5. We're going to increase community safety. While we have a reduction in crime, it is still too high. A recent Baton Rouge Area Foundation report highlighted the effectiveness of community-based strategies in policing, and I want to see us expand these efforts across the parish. It takes all of us working together. And so my goal is for Baton Rouge to be the safest mid-sized city in America. And that means it takes all of us, the whole community, working together. I want to applaud the work of Safe, Hopeful, and Healthy BR. I also want to applaud the work of Safe BR, which was created last year. And Safe BR is committed to undertaking a major study looking at how to support best practices in law enforcement, including elevating pay, closing recruitment gaps, improving community relations and accountability. And I welcome such a how-to roadmap. I also believe that we have to study any law enforcement opportunity that includes structural changes that can be pursued to achieve efficiency, accountability, and overall safety. I have to be open to that as a leader. We don't have all the answers, but I know that when we come together, we can achieve great things. So my administration is looking forward to hearing Chief Morris's 100-day plan that he will be sharing with our community soon. We have to focus on, secondly, improving quality of place and quality of life. And so it's not enough for us to just do what we normally do to keep our city parish clean. I will tell you, we couldn't do the work that we do in terms of removing tons of trash, removing all of the debris, if it were not for partnerships, right? And so I am glad to celebrate groups like Keep Tiger Town Beautiful, led by Jennifer Richardson. Jennifer, stand up. Everybody knows you. This is an excellent opportunity and an example to show collaboration between government and the community. They pick up more than 16,000 bags each year, and DPW assists them with disposing the bags once they have done the work. Thank you, Jennifer, for all you do. Also, I will tell you that this year, through the Office of Community Development, we will bolster our efforts to include someone who is solely dedicated to eradicating and addressing homelessness. That will come through our Office of Community Development. That is certainly part of improving our quality of life issues. We also want to, in my 3rd term, work with partners to deliver a premier entertainment venue to Baton Rouge that attracts A and B list talent to Baton Rouge, that brings top sporting events, and works with the River Center to increase our viability for national conferences and events coming to Baton Rouge. That is already in the works. Thirdly, create equitable and sustainable business opportunities. You know, we must focus on our small businesses and that entrepreneurial spirit that's so real here in Baton Rouge. And as we focus on keeping our biggest generators of jobs here, you know, the Turners, the H&Es, and the Canes, and the list goes on and on, we must also ensure that our small business is thriving. When I think of small businesses and places I like to eat, I think of my friend Jim Uraldes with Mestizos. He's here today. Stand up, Jim. Jim and his partner get up every day. They are celebrating their 24th year anniversary at Mestizos, and he has become a part of the culinary fabric of Baton Rouge. Thank you, Jim, for sticking with Baton Rouge. And we have people right here in Baton Rouge that are working to ensure that we continue to focus on North Baton Rouge. And this young lady now who said, someone said, oh, we don't have anything going on in Baton Rouge. If you connect to Myra Richardson's text message, she will tell you every day, everything that's taking place in Baton Rouge. Thank you, Myra, for leading the way. Myra, stand up. Myra is a young woman who's staying in Baton Rouge to carve the future through the North Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce and her work with Louisiana Chamber of Commerce. And so my office is going to double down our efforts to be a catalyst for this kind of growth. Let me just share that we will focus on developing sustainable environment and infrastructure. You heard about our MOVE EBR project, so I'm not going to reiterate it. But number 5 is that we want to prioritize opportunities for everyone to thrive. And we have to think about collaboration. We have to have a unified vision, a voice, and implementation plan. So I will tell you, we are excited about opportunities that do that here in Baton Rouge, like the Huey and Angelina Wilson Foundation Purpose-Built Community. And tomorrow, we are presenting $125,000 in mini grants to grassroots organizations who are doing work during MLK holiday weekend that spans from Gardner Lane to Scotlandville. Now, with that being said, I'm excited to announce, because we know that neighborhoods are so important. I'm excited to announce that this summer, in shared partnership with civic leaders, we will co-create and host a citywide neighborhood convention. This is going to work to ensure sustainability as many of our neighborhoods undergo change. One person who has been committed to undergoing change in our community is Stuart Gilly. Mr. Gilly, are you here, right? Stand up. I read an article in the paper about you a couple of weeks ago, and I was really inspired. He has committed to his hometown with the innovative First Tuesday initiative. He creates this monthly event where employees volunteer during work hours, not using personal time, and working with organizations like Revive 225 and the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. First Tuesday focuses on practical needs like home repairs, food distribution, providing all necessary tools and resources for volunteers. Thank you so much for all that you do. We have to have pride of place. Cultural identity is important. And so we realize that high quality programs and festivals are part of what makes Baton Rouge strong. Scotland Saturdays, founded by Byron Washington and others, was named a Levitt Amp community, Byron Stand Up, which brings multi-year funding and resources through music series which enhance community-led efforts to celebrate our rich music heritage and highlight arts and culture in North Baton Rouge. Last but not least, we must break down the silos of education in Baton Rouge if we want everyone to thrive, if we want to retain our best and brightest. Retention is fueled with a focus on education and quality of life through placemaking. So my office will be revamping and doubling down on our Cradle to K and Head Start initiatives. We need to ensure that our Head Start program is used to its maximum capacity and seek opportunities for cooperative endeavors with providers in our city. To the East Baton Rouge School Board and to Bessie, we will be working with you because we want to make sure that Baton Rouge thrives, that we retain our best and brightest. And it starts with reimagining what can happen with our school system. I want our children that make up the fabric of our community to stay here, but I also want to attract people from other places to know that Baton Rouge is definitely a community where they can thrive, prosper, and establish a family. Wow, I've said a lot, haven't I? There's so much more to tell, but I will say this. Read this book. Also know I have taken a lot of bumps and bruises for this community and to fix the foundation of our city so that we can now accelerate and deliver big and bold ideas, big, abundant, bold ideas. And it is because of this work to ensure that our foundation is strong that I am convinced I want to see the work completed. So if you will have me, which I hope you will, I'll be around for another 4 years. Anyone that knows construction knows that it is never good to stop building and bring in a new contractor to build on another's foundation. Thank you, Rotary, for this opportunity. I look forward to communicating with you, and please fill out those cards. We're not perfect in Baton Rouge. We have challenges that we have to face, but let's change the narrative. Let's be for our community. Let's speak for our community. Let's celebrate all that's good in our community, because this is Baton Rouge, and we are continued Red Stick Rising. Grace and peace to you, to Baton Rouge, and may God bless all of us. Thank you.